the realities of life. He was taken out. He used to run on the road, but he was not stopped. He was just guided that we will walk like this. And in it I would walk faster with the child. Slowly and gradually the child developed patience and he started moving about like other people. He could not speak, but constant education was given in talking. He was guided how to speak. He was shown, people used to talk to him. Instead of just ignoring the boy that he cannot talk, why should we talk to him? He was taught how to talk. He was given so much care and attention that he adapted to this normal way of life. In the beginning, when he was taken out, he used to run in the streets. And it was very difficult to control him. But still, he was not stopped directly. He was not handled harshly. He was dealt calmly, coolly. And the difference was showing day by day in his progress and his improvement. So slowly and gradually, this boy adjusted to the normal routine. And this gave the psychologist and the educationist that point where they will realize that now the child is in reality adapting to the environment. When he was in the jungle, he was behaving like the wild beast, running from tree to tree, jumping, finding food for himself. But now he's in the civilized city, he is acting like those. So whatever the environment, whatever the surroundings, child is affected by it. And people will still protect. Although in words, Montessori says in words, everybody says that bring our children close to nature. Let the child experience the seaside, let the child feel the rain, let the child walk on the damp grass. But in reality, the adults are afraid of this. They put their children in a very, very protected life. And once she has used the word cage, that it is like a cage where the child is overprotected. We think we are giving best education, best facilities to our child, but child is moving away from the reality, the gifts of nature, what God has given to them. Children are not enjoying that. They are just forced into a life which adults have created for them. It is not the real aspect of the life. But then, again, research showed that too much of pressure and keeping far away from nature was affecting the health of the children. For that sake, the health and hygiene, new plans were implemented, and they were that child should be brought close to nature. For the better health, doctors and research said that take the child out in the natural environment. Parks were made, children were taken to those parks, they were encouraged to go to the seaside, they were allowed to move about, and parents were asked to allow the children to be in the natural surroundings. Once the child is in contact with nature, then the health improves. And this can be compared with the child of the city and the child in the villages. They move about freely, they will act as they want to, although they are also protected to some extent. It is not that they are abandoned, but they are more close to nature, they are more confident, they are more healthy. Whereas to those children who are in the cities, they are overprotected, they are all the time in the care or guidance of some adult. And Montessori also gives the example that the child who can just walk and run about, in the cities they are put in the pushchairs and they are taken. Whereas in the village life or in the open environment, child is allowed to walk. He will walk when he feels tired, he will sit, he will relax, and this affects the whole personality of the child. He becomes more independent. He can deal with the different things. So, studies showed that yes, child has to be in contact with nature. And there are many examples in this book, in this chapter also, where Maria Montessori gives the examples how children are attracted to nature. They want to move about, they want to walk. A child in the city will feel tired because of the formal dressing, the tight dresses, the hard shoes, the leather shoes. The child feels exhausted after a little while, and child will say, "I am tired, I don't want to walk anymore." Whereas if the child is in a natural environment, or he is on the seaside, and she even writes that instead of the leather shoes, the child is wearing soft, comfortable sandals, then they are more relaxed. They can spend the whole day in that activity and they will not be tired. In boxes also, Montessori says that we can keep sand in boxes and in trays, where child will be able to use that and associate with the sea, with the seaside. So it is up to the creativity of the directress how she will handle the situation and bring nature close to the child. And Maria Montessori gives the example that when you say that we will involve the children with plants, you show the child how to plant a seed. The child very actively comes and plants the seed. But then the waiting is very long for the plant to grow. They have to keep waiting for that. And that's the interest child will be involved in other activities. But once the plant is there, then they will see it growing and they become closer to that. And she writes about the rose plant in her Casa di Bambini. There was a plant they used to, and plant started growing, buds started appearing. Every day the children would wait for the flower to blossom. And one morning she saw a whole group of children sitting around the plant. And they were watching the rose flower which had blossomed in the night. The day before when children went, it was a half-open bud, and when they came back the next morning, it was a beautiful flower. So a lot of children had gathered around. They were appreciating the flower, the color, the smell. So if you allow the children, they will appreciate the beauties of nature. They will be close to nature. And this is how the children will develop love for natural things. You will see that children love to watch the birds. Whenever they see the birds and when they see the nest, they are
after 3-4 hours, they are going and there is a great environment in their home. Again, within 3-4 hours, once we have started, they run there, they will change completely and come to the new things, new habits, new activities, new mind. This is the facing problem.
we are children at home or after
No, they are the best after 4 hours.
and we try to give our best.
Every best we are good, but when they go back to their home environment, in the home environment, the kinds of working out, they are doing
You're right. It does happen, but we can only convince the child and they say, mentally already whatever my teacher is saying, whatever my school is writing is right. It will not come at suddenly. Matching the beginning, it will be like that. क्योंकि दोनों चीजों का इफेक्ट है. But slowly and gradually what happens when the teachers work its time. But for the very young child, it takes time to accept the effort. Depends on how child is. They different children, but give them plenty of time. Okay, I'll talk to you individually after that's what I say.
And we will be growing the system on international. So what is the secret? Let's ask the person himself. Sir Shamim, first to welcome you and give the introduction, and then for his official lecture, which is Practice and Principles in Education, where the research has come from and so on. And how much work has been put behind that. Let's listen and follow carefully and consider ourselves lucky to be in an environment that is so educational, so learning, so forth. So, let's give a warm, that's a warm one, let's give it.
Very good morning. Assalamu alaikum. I very well welcome you on this auspicious conference along with my experts. Since I'm leaving for Punjab just immediate after this conference, so I will not be taking much of your time, but I have a lot of things to be discussed and to be passed on to you. But briefly, before I come back to the lecture, let me just explain our very new event which is going to be in Malaysia. We have set up an organization in Malaysia, and our procedure always is that we first do the workshop as we did in UAE 5-6 years back, and then we start up our other activities, setting up the branch, center. So what we are going to do, we are going to conduct 5 days workshop in Kuala Lumpur. The venue is Kuala Lumpur International Hotel. The dates are 13, 14, 15, 16 and 17th of September 2014. A very good place for meeting. My strategy right from the beginning remains that the environment plays a vital role in learning, not only for the child, but for the adult as well. And this conference, most of you know, is being conducted for the last 19 years, every month in this hotel. It's very easy to say, but we are doing and very successfully conducting it and passing on the Montessori ideas and philosophy. The workshop in Malaysia is basically the introduction of nature's principle in taking care of the child. The child basically is sent in this world to lay down the foundation for a man, for a generation. When it is a foundation, why we should not put more emphasis on the foundation rather than the tall building. Till the time of Montessori, when she was a doctor in 1996, thereon she had an opportunity to work with this children, and with the advent of time, lots of research she did, and she explained to the world that, look, don't waste time here and there, concentrate on the child. Whatever you want to make in future, think on the child, work on the child, give importance to the child, study the child, understand the child. You will get a better result. And it is very true, going through the literature by Dr. Maria Montessori, it is very true, if you want to make a culture, work on the child. Acha culture, child. Bura culture, child. Acha bana do, bura bana do. But who is making it? That's the child. So, we must concentrate on the child. People do not understand, and this always, Dr. Maria Montessori in conferences and seminars, in workshops, she always emphasized, whether she is talking in the UNO, whether she is talking in the other platform, she always say, please, 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 don't waste your time, take care of child, understand the child. You will get amazing results. If you want to create peace in the world, she said, work on the child. Peace cannot come in this world unless until you are not touching the foundation. And still, people are not understanding. Dr. Maria Montessori was nominated for 3 times Nobel Prize, but on the political basis, she could not. Yeah, doesn't matter. Here in my laptop, I'll get the tracing and photocopy of that, and whoever is interested later on, they can get from. But let me just briefly. Now, this lecture was given by Dr. Maria Montessori in 1937 in Medical College, London. And the topic, as you people know, is the principle and practice in education. Now, the summary of this lecture is that Dr. Maria Montessori, in 1937, she studied lots of educational systems, and very deeply she got the detail of prevailing system, and then she gave a big lecture throughout the world in many countries, obviously, and this is what I have selected. Now, it is very difficult to narrate the whole story of Dr. Maria Montessori's ideas. It's very difficult to understand. She was a philosopher, and to understand a philosopher, you have to be a philosopher. You have to be a thinker. But there's another problem with this, is that all the lectures are in Italian language, and it's translated into English. And difference in translations. But anyway, whatever the the things we are getting, and we are getting from AMI. I only believe in AMI, Holland. They are the original Montessori's caretaker, and obviously they are working a lot. And their one journal, that is communication. And whoever become the member of AMI, they can get this journal. It's very informative and good deal of information about Montessori. Okay. Dr. Maria Montessori, to avoid misunderstanding about the education, she says that education is what renders the individual capable of making his own. It is not in LMI. Our students are learning from, mashallah, 20 experts, attending conferences, attending workshops, attending symposiums, interaction with these experts, different experience to have an audio. So it's a big, this is the whole philosophy why we have created all these platforms. So